Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the BUCSIS program, and I'm your host Tariq. Today we'll discuss the security landscape in the South Asian region, especially focusing on the aftermath of the US and NATO forces withdrawal from Afghanistan and its implication on the region. We'll delve into the Pakistan historical support for jihadist groups during the Soviet invasion and how it contributed to the culture of jihadism in the region. And we will also examine the security challenges that have arisen since the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan, including the expectations from one Taliban regime regarding the Tariq Taliban Pakistan and whether these expectations are being met or not. Furthermore, we will assess whether the one government has fulfilled the commitment to the international community to untie their relationship with the terrorist organizations as per Doha Agreement 2020. We'll also explore how the Taliban's victory against US forces has emboldened the terrorist organization globally and what this means for Pakistan's counter-terrorism strategy. So today, Professor Dr.M.Tahir Mehmood has joined us from University of Buckingham. You are the research fellow at the Center for Security and Intelligence Studies, University of the Buckingham. Dr. Tahir Mehmood, thank you so much for joining the BUCSIS program, and you are most welcome. Sir, as you know, we are discussing the security landscape in the South Asian region, especially Afghanistan. So, would you like to give us an overview of the militant organizations in the South Asian region and after the withdrawal of the US and other NATO forces from the Afghanistan?
Thank you very much. Which is what's happening in the South Asia region, and not only in the South Asian region but beyond, and what's happening after the draw of the US and other NATO forces from Afghanistan after August 2021. So we need to just we need to see that a little bit the Doha peace agreement between the United States and the Afghan government and Afghan Taliban in February 2020. And in that agreement, both the parties, especially the United States, they agreed that they will withdraw all their forces from Afghanistan by May 2021. And in return, the Afghan Taliban, they will break all ties with the militant organizations, especially Al-Qaeda and Islamic State in Iraq and Syria and other militant organizations. And they will not allow any militant organizations to use Afghan soil against against the United States and their allies. But unfortunately, when we see the ground realities in Afghanistan and the region, and after the withdrawal of US and NATO forces from Afghanistan in August 2021, a new wave of militancy started in the region because these are militant organizations, especially the Tariq Taliban Pakistan and ISK Islamic State in Khorasan and Uzbek fighters and Punjabi Taliban, Lashkar Jangvi, and these are all the splintered and individual militant groups. They re-emerged. And they re-emerge, and they are just they are trying to recruit more fighters, and they are free in their movement, and they have their training camps over there. So we cannot see that the Afghan Taliban, they fulfilled their promise at the moment, but we can see there's the militancy once again re-emerging in the region after the withdrawal of the US and Afghan forces.
Sir, can you analyze Pakistan's Afghan pro-jihad policy during Soviet invasion and how it has created jihadi culture in the region? How would you analyze this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. It's a very interesting question here. The Pakistan jihad policy and Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. It's a very interesting. So I just discuss a bit in detail. If we just to try to understand all this period, which started in 1979 with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and the first era of that. And the second one just after the 9/11. So if we describe in two sentences, though, we can say it was all almost this is more than 4 decade period. So we can say this is the period of from holy war to war on terror. Holy war to war on terror. So in these 2 sentences, all this period we can describe, because when in 1979, when Soviet forces, the invasion of Afghanistan, and all the international forces, including United States and Saudi Arabia and Europe, and they helped the Afghan Mujahideen. And that time they were not called the terrorists, but they called Mujahideen, and they were fighting for a noble cause against Soviet invasion. And the freedom fighter and jihadi-minded people around the globe, they came in this region, and their first station was Pakistan. And in this regard, the United States and their allied NATO forces and all, they helped these Mujahideen. They provided them financial support, they provided them weapons, training, diplomatic support, because they said this is a holy war, and they are fighting for their noble cause. And as a Pakistan, ISI, the Pakistan government, they had very, very important role in that time. And Pakistan fully supported all these Mujahideen, and that time Pakistan had a jihad policy. And this jihad policy recognized and supported by entire world, and the most of the countries, especially Europe, America, and Saudi Arabia and UAE, they supported this policy. So, so this period was, we can say this period was called the Holy War, and it started in 1979 and ended in 1988-89, when all the Afghan forces, they left from, all the Soviet Union forces, they left from Afghanistan. So this period ended. And when the Soviet forces, they left Afghanistan, and the all international forces, they changed their political agenda, and they abandoned Afghanistan. So all these Mujahideen, all these freedom fighters, all these jihadi policies, they changed, and they abandoned all these things. But these Mujahideen, they were highly equipped, they were highly trained, and they have very political influence and political links in the regions, especially in Pakistan. So most of these Mujahideen, they moved into Pakistan, and in that time, after 88, 89, and until 1994, a civil war erupted in Afghanistan for the capturing of the Kabul. So this civil war among the warlords and militant organizations and jihadi organizations. So in 1994, a new Islamic armed group erupted and emerged, that was called the Afghan Taliban. And so Pakistan supported the Afghan Taliban in that time. So the next era, so in 1996, the Afghan Taliban, they captured the Kabul, and they had their government in Afghanistan. The most of the part, rest of the northern Afghanistan, and they occupied all the Afghanistan, including Kabul. So only 3 countries they recognized Afghanistan, including Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and UAE. So this was the one period of Afghanistan, and so we can all say from 79 to 89, this period we can say that this period was the Holy War. And the second period started in after 9/11 and until August 2021, when all the US forces they withdrew from Afghanistan. So this period after 9/11 to August 2021, this period called War on Terror. Because all the forces, after 9/11, the United States and NATO forces, they attacked on Afghanistan, and they came there behind Al-Qaeda and all other militant organizations, and they said they are all terrorists, and so this is war on terror. So the narrative has changed from holy war to war on terror. That time they were Mujahideen, and they were fighting for the noble cause, and that was the jihad. But now they are terrorists, and it's a war on terror, and Pakistan suddenly changed its policy, its jihad policy, and they changed their narrative. But behind the curtain, Pakistan still had the sympathies with the Afghan Taliban, and because Pakistan believed that the Afghan Taliban, the assets of Pakistan, and is a very important to eliminate all anti-Pakistan elements in Afghanistan, including the India and all against Pakistan elements. So Pakistan, but on the ground, on the realities that Pakistan was changed its narrative from jihadi policy. So this is a different period of time how this happened, or what this happened in all this almost 4 decades period. So we can say that Pakistan after 9/11. And Pakistan changed its policy of jihad policy, but behind the curtain, Pakistan had the same sympathies with the Afghan Taliban, and Pakistan supported them, and especially the Pakistan provided them protection. Their leadership in Afghanistan, that's a very famous, and Quetta Shura is also known in the world as the Pakistan provided them shelter and support here in Pakistan. The Pakistan provided them all their intelligence support to all these fighters. So this is the history of the Soviet Union and after 9/11. Yes, please.
Sir, how would you analyze, how do you view the security challenges in the region after, especially of the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan and taking control by the Afghan Taliban? And what expectations of Pakistan from Afghan Taliban regime regarding TTP, Tariq Taliban Pakistan? Does it considered by one government or not? How would you analyze this?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, Mr. Khan. After withdrawal of Afghan forces from Afghanistan in August 2021, the militant organizations, especially the TTP and TTP, Al-Qaeda, and Islamic State Khorasan, that's the part of Daesh, Islamic State Iraq and Syria, and the Uzbek fighters and the Chechen fighters and Lashkar-e-Islam and Lashkar-e-Jangvi and Punjabi Taliban and all others, these groups, now they are re-emerging in this region because they believe that now they are free and they have no any fear of sudden drone attack by the US and their allies. So they are free in movement, they are free in recruitment, so they are free in training, and they're planning in Afghanistan, and they're executing their terrorist attacks in the region, especially in Pakistan. And Pakistan is the most affected country at the moment by these militant organizations after the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan. So this is the reason, and because they say the Afghanistan right now is the safe haven for these militant organizations, and before they have some the fear that the NATO forces, they can attack them and they can use drone strike and all these things, but at the moment they have no any issue such types, and especially they have well equipped with the modern weapons, and they are using modern technology which NATO forces and US forces have entered in Afghanistan, so they are using that one. So this is a very critical situation in Pakistan, and if you see the data in this period of time and after August 2021, it's a very horrible data in Pakistan. If I can share with you, just if you see, and just in this year, I'm discussing in this year, the total terrorist 436 terrorist attacks in Pakistan, 436 terrorist attacks in the first 4 months of 2023, and in which 300 deaths, including 521 injured and 137 in security forces personnel included in these deaths. So it's a very horrible data, and if we see in this period, 1,535 terrorists were arrested or killed, 1,535. So it's a huge. And if you see only in May, last month in this year, the 70 terrorist incidents happened in Pakistan. And if you see the last year period of from August 2021 to August 2022, so there is a 250 terrorist attacks and with 433 deaths and 719 injured in 1 year. So if it's an increase of 60% terrorist incidents after August 2021. So it is a very horrible security situation in Pakistan and in the region. So basically, this is not only in Pakistan. This is also a dangerous situation for the Iran. This is also a dangerous situation for the China, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, because Tajik militant organization, Chinese militant organizations, Uzbek fighters. So they are just re-emerging in this situation in Afghanistan. And Pakistan is the most hated country in the present situation. So this is the first part of your question. And the second your part, how Pakistan expectations vanished, and because Pakistan since 1994, when Afghan Taliban emerged as a political force, or you can say as an armed group in Afghanistan, in the leadership of Mullah Muhammad Umar. So since 1994, Pakistan supported Afghan Taliban. Pakistan provided them, even if I'm just openly, I can say that Pakistan supported weapons, Pakistan provided them training, Pakistan financially supported them, whatever Pakistan can do. And Pakistan provided them protections, their leadership during the war on terror. And Pakistan provided them intelligence sharing. And because Pakistan believed that Afghan Taliban is a very important asset of Pakistan. So because once it was the Pakistan's expectation that once all foreign forces, when they withdraw from Afghanistan, and after that, and once the Afghan Taliban, they will take control of Kabul, so there will be no space at all for any anti-Pakistan element, including Indian influence, including Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, including all other small and large militant groups, such as ISK. So Pakistan believed that this thing, that once the Taliban will come in power and they take over Kabul, so there will be no space for all others anti-Pakistan elements with these militant organizations. But unfortunately, Pakistan expectations has vanished. Pakistan expectations, Pakistan could not succeed in its agenda, its planning. Because once all the NATO forces, they left Afghanistan, and all these militant organizations, they re-emerged. And Afghan Taliban, even they released their leadership from the Afghan prisons as a gesture. And they provided that they are free for everything, for the movement, for training, for recruitment. So Pakistan, you can say Pakistan's expectations was not fulfilled after the withdrawal, and it's a big disappointment for the Pakistan point of view that we just supported the Afghan Taliban, but the Afghan Taliban, they are not they are controlling these militant organizations, especially the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, because they're planning everything in Afghanistan, and they're executing their militant activities inside Pakistan. So that's why I think Pakistan expectations was not fulfilled by the Afghan Taliban after taking over the control of Kabul. So this is the things, and because, and so why this is happening here, if you can ask me, because number one, this is all militant organizations, they believe this is such like TTP and Al-Qaeda and the other armed group in Afghanistan, they think this is the payback time of Afghan Taliban, because last 20 years these militant organizations, they supported Afghan Taliban. TTP supported Afghan Taliban, and they believe that the hundreds of Afghan TTP fighters, they lost their lives in Afghanistan by helping the Afghan Taliban against NATO forces. So that's why they believe that this is the payback time of Afghan Taliban, and so I think the Afghan Taliban, they're providing them shelter because one time they were their partner, and they believe on the same Amir Mullah Habibullah. And so this is a very unfortunate that Pakistan Pakistan changing its policy. It's not possible that these militant organizations, especially TTP, we can only rely on the Afghan Taliban that they will control these militant organizations. Yes, Pakistan's expectations fully vanished, and it was not fulfilled. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, how would you analyze, how do you think does a one government fulfill its commitment to the international community in Doha Agreement 2020 to break ties with terrorist organizations? How do you spread this
yes, Mr. Khan.
Scenario?
And what was the agreement? Agreement was Doha Agreement. Doha Agreement, as I discussed earlier, that Doha Agreement was that all the NATO forces withdrew from Afghanistan by May 2021, and in return, all the Afghan Taliban, they will break their ties with the militant organization, especially Al Qaeda. Yes, but when we see the ground reality, so I think that the Afghan Taliban they failed to fulfill their commitment with the international community. And as example, I can say that, for example, Emil Zawahri, and he was in protection of Afghan Taliban when the US drone strike and attacked on al-Zawahri in Kabul. So Afghan Taliban provided him a safe haven there, and he was living in Kabul. So we can see that this is a thing that Afghan Taliban, they have their sympathies with Al Qaeda and Al Qaeda fighters and all other militant organizations, except Daesh, because Daesh has a different school of thought and belongs to different narrative. And first of all, we need to, Mr. Khan, we need to understand 2-3 things. And these militant organizations in Afghanistan, they have a different agenda and different narratives and different ideology, basically. So what things? For example, Afghan Taliban, they had their agenda was only in Afghanistan, and they want to implement Sharia in Afghanistan, and they wanted to eject all foreign forces from Afghanistan, and they achieved their objectives. And other things, that Al Qaeda, they have an international agenda, and IS, Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, they have also international agenda. And on the other side, if you see the Afghan TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and they have a regional agenda, the local agenda, they want to implement Sharia laws in Pakistan. And some Kashmiri-centric organizations, they have their agenda and in Kashmir. So the militant organizations, they have a different political narrative, they have a different ideology, they have a different agenda. So these organizations in Afghanistan right now, we can say that Afghan Taliban still they have their sympathies with militant organization except Daesh, because they have a different school of thought. Otherwise, all militant organization, they feel they are in a safe haven. So they have no any issue at the moment in Afghanistan. And international community, they're also, they abandoned Afghanistan and they're not ready to recognize Afghanistan as a state, as a country, as the Afghan Taliban government, because they believe that Afghan Taliban, they're not fulfilling their commitment. Especially the women's education. You know, there's not allowed women to go to schools and colleges and university, they closed colleges and universities in Afghanistan. So this is a very dangerous situation there in Pakistan, the international community, and they are not agreed with the Afghan Taliban that they are doing well. So not only in the militancy point of view, that the education point of view, all the things, the Afghan Taliban, they are not fulfilling their commitment. So Doha Agreement, you can say, yes, indeed, that the United States and its allies, especially the Europe, and they have no any actual threat from these at the moment, these organizations, but they have still a threat from Al Qaeda and IS. So we can say that Afghan Taliban, they have failed to fulfill their commitment, and because of these two reasons. Number one, the militant organization, they're free in Afghanistan and they're using the Afghan soil and they're planning their attacks. They're recruiting in Afghanistan. They have their training camps in Afghanistan. And they're executing militant attacks in the region and especially in Pakistan. And secondly, the important thing, they stopped all the women from education in the colleges and the universities. Yes, please.
Sir, as we are discussing, exploring re-emergence of militant or terrorist organization in South Asian region, especially Afghanistan and Pakistan, and especially after the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan and government taken and controlled by one government in Afghanistan. So how would you explore or how would you analyze how does one Taliban's victory against US forces impact terrorist organizations around the globe, and how do you view Pakistan's counter-terrorism strategy and how Pakistan cope with the militant organizations in the current scenario? How do you view this whole scenario? How would you analyze this whole security landscape?
Yes, Mr. Khan, these are two very interesting questions, and especially first of all, let's answer your question that how the global militant organizations, and you take this one, and the Afghan Taliban victory. The so-called Afghan Taliban victory is you can say that the militant organization, especially in the world, in the region and in beyond, and in Africa, in Middle East, and all everywhere, the militant organizations, they took the ideological boost by the Taliban's victory in Afghanistan, and they believe that if the Afghan Taliban they can defeat United States, superpower, United States and their allies, the NATO forces, almost 52 countries. If the Afghan Taliban, they can defeat all these superpowers and forces, so why not they can just achieve their objectives against their governments or against their enemies. So this gave a logical boost to all militant organizations around the globe, such as the Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab and Daesh and TTP also does believing and thinking that if Afghan Taliban they can do this one, so why not we can do? And with the help of the Afghan Taliban, with the help of the other militant organization, we can achieve our objectives. So because one thing I just said, this is basically, Mr. Khan, this is a very academic question that transition terrorism. So what is a transition terrorism? Transition terrorism always ideology traveled, not physically the militancy traveled, but ideology travels. For example, you can say that Daesh that was established in Iraq, and so but Daesh's ideology traveled around the world. such as Al-Qaeda, that was established in another region, but its ideology traveled in the world. So basically, the jihadi-minded and fighters, they believe and the ideology of different militant organizations. So this is the main thing. So need to stop the ideology if you want to control the terrorism in the world. So I think that the so-called victory of Afghan Taliban in August 2021 gave a ideological boost to the militant organization around the world. And they believe that if the Afghan Taliban can defeat the United States and their allies or NATO forces, so why not we can achieve our objectives against our enemies? Enemies means to whom they are fighting against. For example, TTP, they are fighting against Pakistan state. And this is the main thing. So this is I think, a very unfortunate, and otherwise, I can't say this is the victory of the Afghan Taliban, but they believe this is okay. This is fine. But this is the unfortunate, and what happened after this victory, and what gave the boost to the other militant organization in the world. So this is the one part answer for your question. Then our second, I'm coming to the second question of Pakistan, and can counter this terrorism. So there is a different points how the Pakistan can control this militancy. So if I say that Pakistan, so number one, Pakistan need to fulfill all the National Action Plan. National Action Plan, the 20 points of the National Action Plan 2014, that's a very important document and a policy document of Pakistan. So if Pakistan implement that in 20 points of National Action Plan, so number one. And the second thing, the Pakistan need to enhance its military capability. Because it's not possible that Pakistan with a conventional and with traditional way Pakistan can fight against these militant organizations. It's not possible. Pakistan need to enhance its capability. Pakistan need to just drone technology, sophisticated drone technology, modern military technology, sharing intelligence system, the modern intelligence systems, and so the Pakistan need to enhance its law enforcement, just Pakistan law to its capabilities against terrorism with the modern weapons, the technology, drone strike, drone sophisticated technologies, and intelligence sharing system in Pakistan. So this, and second, the other thing, that Pakistan need to adopt the offensive policy rather than defensive policy, because if defensive policy, the militant organization, they believe that if Pakistan in defensive, they believe that's the weakness of Pakistan. So Pakistan should not show their weakness against the militant organization, also show the zero tolerance against these militant organizations, and adopt a very offensive policy rather than a defensive policy. And the last and final, I think, we heard in Pakistan that Pakistan discussed in the Charter of Economy. So just like Charter of Economy, Pakistan need to adopt a Charter of Combating Terrorism. So all the political parties and stakeholders in Pakistan, including the Pakistan law enforcement, military establishment, Pakistan political parties, irrespective and what governments come in Pakistan, what go in from Pakistan. So irrespective of this one, so we have government in Pakistan, but there should be the one uniform policy and Charter of Combating Terrorism, Charter of Combating Terrorism should sign all the stakeholders in Pakistan, including military establishment, including all political parties and government change. There should be no any issue if the government change with this Charter of Combating Terrorism in Pakistan. And the last, there should be a political instability in Pakistan, because political instability is important for the economic instability. So with these things, the Pakistan properly can fight against terrorism, because it's not possible with a traditional way of fighting and with political instability and ignoring and abandoning the Pakistan national policy. And so it's not possible to fight against with terrorism with the very defensive policies. So I just recommended this with offensive policy, modern technology, latest technology, more equipped with the Pakistan law enforcement agencies, and finally political and economic stability in Pakistan. And the last one, there should be a charter of combating terrorism in Pakistan among all stakeholders in Pakistan, irrespective their political political situation in Pakistan. So these are the things which should be adopted in Pakistan if Pakistan wants to combat and control militancy in Pakistan.
Sir, thank you so much for your valuable precious time and sharing your thoughts on security landscape in South Asian region, especially Afghanistan, Pakistan. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable precious thoughts and enlightening us on this topic, precious topic.
Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you so much for sharing your precious thoughts. Yes, see you in the next episode, and till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.